Hello everybody, this is Chaos with Chaos Esports Productions, bringing you another Bronze to Masters League Series game. Today we're finally going to be looking at another ZvZ here on Frost Ladder Edition, and this is going to be our first episode for the Gold League, so I'm pretty excited about that. So yeah, ZvZ. I have only played a handful of ZvZs, and a lot of times the ZvZs turn out to be really crazy Ling battles, and this is actually the first one that actually didn't turn out that way. So I'm pretty excited to be going through this with you guys. So yeah, so we're actually going to go into it. I'm going to speed it up because it is a fairly long game, fairly long passive game, I guess is probably the better way to say it. So on Frost Ladder Edition, our early game goals are simply to just kind of get an idea of where our opponent is, what type of strategy he's going for, and then decide whether or not we're going to play a little bit more on the aggressive side or passive side based on what we scout. Since it's Frost, we can easily go for a hatchery first, no problem. We're not too worried about any sort of early Ling pressure and things like that. And actually we see our opponent going for a very similar build. And, you know, at this point we're just going to send out a drone to go scout the upper area, and then our overlord will send him across, and then obviously if we don't see anything, we're not too worried about it. We're just going to go check out, see where he's at and where things are going, and kind of what general build style he's going with. So we're going to be going for our extractor with our spawning pool like we normally do, because we want to get our speedlings up, as well as get that extra gas for the baneling nest and the lair when necessary. And, you know, it's just a pretty normal opening. We're pretty much doing exactly the same thing. We're both getting queens, building drones, you know, and just basically pretty peachy overall. I mean, let's see, units-wise, we're pretty even. He's a little bit ahead on... little bit ahead on drones, which is not really that big of a deal. We just went ahead and built a couple lings so we can get a little bit more intel, kind of keep map vision out, and so on and so forth. And basically, yeah, we're just going to be focusing on getting out units and drones, continue on injecting, speed it up a little bit, because, like I said, very, very passive early game. So, first off, we're going to be sending our lings out once they've got speed to come over here and maybe get a little bit of intel. We send a couple lings in to try and do a bit of scouting. We actually see the banelings that he's already got. So we know that he's gone for an early baneling nest, and then if we check out the vision that we have, we also see that he is already going up to lair, and his lair is just a little bit behind ours, so we're not, you know, too terribly worried. We're pretty confident in what we're doing. And we actually see him going for a roach warren, but actually we don't see any roaches come out for a significant amount of time. We just see primarily lings and banelings up at the front. So, going to send out the lings again to get a little bit of scouting off, take the Zelnaga towers because we want to know what the deal is. Now, in the ZvZ matchup, one thing that you can do, which is quite nice, is you can posture your overlords in very good locations to just get an idea of when he's going to be pushing out. Obviously, Zerg has to go for either mutas or hydras if he really wants to deal with these overlords, or he can spread creep out and deal with it with queens. But quite honestly, in the lower leagues, you're not really going to see that much, so you're pretty okay putting your overlords in decent positions like that. So, and then I like taking this position because you can get an idea of what's going on, scout in and out, just to see if there's anything special going on. So, we're feeling pretty good. We're about fully saturated on 2 bases right now. We've still got a couple more drones that we need for our extractor, but we are going to also start to think about taking a 3rd base. Now, we're taking this 3rd base a little bit earlier than probably what you'd normally. Since we haven't seen any aggression, we're like, okay, do we sit back and play passive, or do we and expand a whole bunch, or do we be aggressive and try to capitalize on what we have? So I went ahead and went for the route of going ahead and expanding, getting that expansion up just a little bit quicker than he did. And I scout his 3rd, don't really see anything going on, so feeling pretty good. So behind this, we're going to be getting our Spire up as well as double upgrades. Want to make sure that we get ahead in the upgrades, because since he is going for a Roach Ling type composition, we definitely want to make sure that we're going to be able to deal with that. Obviously, roaches can't attack up, so that's why we're going for the Mutalisk. But we do see the Hydrodang going down, mainly because I think he... Let's see, did he scout? No, he didn't scout the Spire, but I'm pretty sure he did see a handful of the Mutas come out here. So, yeah, basically at this point, we're just going to continue on getting upgrades going, continuing on droning, getting our third base rocking and rolling. And basically, we're just waiting to hit a good number of mutas before we want to get out. You know, going over there with 7 or 8 mutas really isn't going to do a whole lot. We want to make sure that we get everything, you know, more or less raring to go as far as the economy's going before we want to push out, because we know we're ahead by 1 base. Since this Overlord is going to come in here and we see no third base, so we're pretty like, okay, so he's got no third base. What does this mean? Well, that just means he's building units at this point, which is kind of interesting because if you look at the supply, we can see that I'm ahead in supply, which is mainly a function of the number of drones that I have and the number of spores that he's building. I didn't even notice that he made that many spores, so definitely very, very scared of all of my mutas. So he's going to come down here and actually take out this Overlord. A little bit of a bummer for me, because I'm not going to get to check on that third base for too terribly long. And basically run around with my mutas trying to find any extraneous Overlords out on the map. And now we're feeling pretty good to just kind of posture a little bit further out into the middle of the map. Now, one thing that I did like to do in this game, you know, since I'm starting to hit critical mass as far as my supply is concerned, I'm sitting here like, okay, what is this composition missing? Well, first of all, Ling Muta really isn't that great. You really need to add in a whole bunch of Banelings to get that extra splash damage and, you know, kind of pack that punch with the initial attack. So I'm starting to think about, okay, what am I missing? Well, unfortunately for me, I forgot to get my Baneling speed a little bit bit late. He's already got his. We're still working on ours, but we're doing pretty good in the upgrades. You know, 2/2 for the Lings and +2 attack for the Mutas. So feeling pretty good. And yeah, so we're just getting up basic static defenses to deal with anything. We've now maxed out at 200-200, so we're going to build maybe a couple extra static defenses back here in case he goes for some weird counterattack type thing. And now we're like, okay, we've got a lot of Lings here. So I'm sitting here trying to put a couple of Lings on one of my other hotkeys as I'm moving my units around. And then I go for kind of a flank around to this third base. I have no idea how long this third base has been here or whether or not it's fully saturated. So I'm like, okay, I think I should go ahead and send a good portion of my Lings over there just to see if I can get a whole lot of damage done. And as we see a whole bunch of drones getting pushed in here, this is about the time, yeah, we're like sending mass Lings over there, going to be trying to get a little bit of damage done. Now we'll go ahead and slow it down as we get into this. So Lings are going to come in here and kind of capture his attention. We're going to take out the Queen. We're going to split off a handful of those Lings to go in and try and deal with the drones themselves, and then I basically want to posture my army in a position that is going to be very beneficial to take an engagement with. So I put it over here, and I start to go actually towards the army, and then come to the realization, oh, he's got another base down here that I want to deal with. So Banelings are now coming in from the side. Now we'll go ahead and slow it down as we get into this. Banelings will come off first, which is very, very nice because all of his Hydras are up in the front, and we actually take down quite a bit of the Hydras. Now, to be honest, his composition is actually a lot stronger than mine because he's got the infestors mixed in. He hit some pretty good fungals. I mean, you can see the majority of my mutas have been captured by the fungals, and chain fungal on this would just be, you know, really stellar for him. Unfortunately for him, he just doesn't have the DPS that he needs to take out this many mutas, so he has to throw down a whole bunch of infesting Terran, which really don't have any upgrades. This has been focusing on the melee upgrades for his Lings and Banelings. So the Lings are going to be finishing up this base down here. We're just going to continue on making a whole bunch of more mutas. We're not too concerned at this point. You know, we've taken out all of his Hydras. He's going to have to fully rebuild his Hydras, and we're basically going to be able to just continue on, you know, being in a really, really good position. So we'll go ahead and speed it up. And yeah, basically we're at a point where we've just, decimated his economy and his army at this point. So we're pretty comfortable just going ahead and denying the third base from mining once again. You can see he's trying to posture and get into a decent enough position, but the muters are going to come in and continue to take out the hydras, and he's actually going to go ahead and call GG before he even can fully engage this army. So overall, really kind of an interesting game. One thing I do want to note is we got our hive up, and we were going to be following up with an Ultralist tech switch. I think that was an appropriate choice for this, just because hydras really are squishy, and with the extra armor upgrade, the Ultralist would be a very, very good choice to get into here. So, yeah, kind of an interesting game. I wasn't really expecting it to be such a passive, late game, almost-esque game. But we are in Gold League, so we're still kind of on the cusp of that kind of newbie player versus someone who's been playing for a little bit longer. So, yeah, feeling pretty good about it. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Feel free to go ahead, if you are new to the channel, and hit that subscriber button down in the lower left-hand corner to check out some of my other videos as they come out. I usually do 2 videos a week. Also, if you enjoyed the video, go ahead and hit that like button, and if you have Zerg player friends who are trying to learn Zerg and would like to get some strategies and tips, feel free to go ahead and share with your friends on Facebook and Twitter. It'd be greatly appreciated. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys in the next game.